Welcome. Today, we're going to dive into the really complex and, let's be honest, kind of chaotic world of digital wealth. We're going to break down a powerful philosophy that's all about bringing some serious clarity and strategy to your financial journey.
So let me ask you something right off the bat. When you think about digital assets, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Is it just a lottery ticket, a game of luck? Or is it something that requires a really disciplined, thought-out strategy? Your answer to that question? Well, it pretty much sets the stage for everything else.
Because for so many people, the landscape feels just like this. It's a mad dash, driven by these really powerful emotions, isn't it? You've got that fear of missing out, you've got the greed for those quick gains, you've got all the overwhelming hype, and then there's that constant nagging temptation to just make an impulsive move. It's really a recipe for financial anxiety, and we're going to call it the digital gold rush.
All right, so let's dig into this environment a little bit more. If we want to succeed, we first have to really get a handle on the psychology that's driving this modern-day gold rush.
It really breaks down into two different paths you can take. Over on one side, you have the emotional investor. This person is constantly reacting, right? They're chasing the latest trend, they get tossed around by every little market dip and surge. But then, on the other side, you've got the strategic investor. They operate from a place of clarity. They follow a plan, they stay disciplined. And here's the kicker. The difference isn't about who knows more about the market. It's all about their mindset.
So the big question is, how do you make that jump from being emotional to being strategic? Well, it all starts with a core principle, a kind of philosophy that acts as a bridge between all that chaos and having real control.
And here it is. This sentence right here is the whole point of this explainer. Just let it sink in for a second. Before we can truly expand our portfolio, we must first expand our mind. What does that mean? It means your external wealth, your portfolio, it can only grow as big as your internal framework, your knowledge, your discipline can handle.
So let's put an official name on this idea, the digital wealth expansion principle. Now, this is not some get-rich-quick scheme, it's a philosophy. It's the idea that real, sustainable growth isn't about chasing hot tips, it's about building your internal framework, your mindset, your discipline, and your knowledge before you try to build your portfolio. It's like you have to build a strong container before you can even think about filling it.
And this internal work, this is the foundation for everything. It's about building what we're going to call your mental fortress. And this is where we get practical. We're going to look at exactly how you put this principle into action.
The very foundation of that mental fortress is a huge shift away from scarcity thinking. You know what I mean? Scarcity is that little voice that tells you opportunities are rare and success is really just for other people. Abundance thinking, though, totally flips that. It opens you up to what's possible. It's the belief that opportunities are literally everywhere and that growth is a continuous, lifelong journey, not some final destination you arrive at.
Mastering this inner game means you got to actively challenge yourself. You have to ask, can you spot the limiting beliefs about money that are holding you back? Can you develop the emotional intelligence to manage that fear and greed when everybody else around you is panicking? And maybe most importantly, can you build the resilience to handle those wild market swings with patience, always keeping your long-term goals in sight?
Okay, so once your mind is fortified, once that fortress is built, then you can start moving from the internal work to the external application. We go from building the fortress to actually drawing up the battle plan. This is all about strategy over speculation, turning your thoughts into disciplined, concrete actions.
The main tool for this is something we call the WAR library. Now, WAR here could be an acronym for Wealth, Archive, and Review, or you can just think of it as a metaphor. This isn't about conflict, it's about being prepared and having good intelligence. Think of it like your personal financial command center. It's a living, breathing archive where you document your strategies, track your results, and build a lifelong repository of your own hard-won knowledge.
So what actually goes inside this library? Well, you're documenting the why behind every single move you make. You're tracking your performance, not just to look at the numbers, but to really analyze what worked, and just as important, what didn't. You're journaling your insights, turning every experience, good or bad, into wisdom. This is what transforms investing from a gamble into your own personal science. All of this disciplined work, this documentation, it feeds directly into your strategic wealth mapping process. Step 1 is the roadmap. You've got to know where you're going. Step 2 is alignment. You make sure every single investment you make actually serves your deeper life goals, so your money is truly working for you. And finally, step 3, diversification. You're balancing risk and opportunity in a way that makes sense for the modern digital world. So this brings us to our final section, where we're going to zoom out and look at the ultimate goal of this entire philosophy. Because this isn't just about making money, it's really about a lifelong wealth journey.
So the journey obviously begins right here with financial growth. By applying these principles of mindset and strategy, you start to build your capital. You start seeing results.
But growth on its own is fragile, right? So the next stage is all about creating sustainable systems. This is about protecting and scaling what you've already built, using repeatable processes that ensure your wealth can last through any market cycle.
And all of this, it leads up to the final, and I think the most important stage of all, creating a meaningful legacy. This is where wealth becomes a tool for real impact. Ultimate success isn't just about what you've piled up. It's about the knowledge, the values, and the opportunities that you pass on. You go from being someone who accumulates wealth to someone who is a steward of it.
So, we're going to end right where we started, with a question for you to think about. I want you to look at your own financial decisions, your own outcomes. Is your portfolio a reflection of your mindset? Is it chaotic and reactive? Or is it structured, disciplined, and purposeful? The answer to that question, well, it reveals everything.